100,000 cars are recalled every day in America. What some saw as a major public safety threat, this man saw an incredible business opportunity. And the best part, it's making the streets much safer. Today, I'm speaking with Ryan Maher, CEO of BizzyCar, an automated recall management tool. We discuss how to crush the 70 million automotive recalls on the road today, his journey from infantry officer to chief executive officer, technology fatigue in the car business, and much more.
I want to get into that, man. I think there's a lot to discuss today with you over here. Love your background, and you've been through some interesting things, so we'll get into. Just start us off about just your growing up in the dealership business, right? For those that don't know, you grew up, your family owns a prominent dealer group in St. Louis. You grew up in that environment. Tell us a little bit about that. What was that like?
Yeah, so we're a third generation auto group. Yeah, I grew up washing cars. My dad wanted to make sure we didn't fall into the proverbial SOD, son of dealer type when they graduate college. And my dad made sure that wasn't the case for us. So we started off $3.15 an hour washing cars when I was about 12 years old. It was a ton of fun. You really appreciate what it takes to get a car frontline ready, and what the technicians do in the back to get cars repaired. And I fell in love with it. Car industry's got so many cool aspects to it. You've got really 4 businesses in one, and you don't see that, I think, when you're a kid. And as you get older and you realize, all of the cool aspects of the car business, ways to make money and also ways to impact the customer, it's amazing. Like I can't think of another industry that's like this. Went to school in New England, did that for a couple years, graduated, and then 9/11 had happened and found myself going off into the military, which I think is pretty unique from the car dealership world. We had 16 rooftops when I was a kid between my dad and my uncle. Mix of luxury brands, super luxury like Aston Martin and Jag, and then mainline brands like Nissan, Hyundai, VW. I never really contemplated myself joining the military. I thought I'd join the car business, right? And I still remember having that conversation with my parents, being like, "Hey, I think I'm gonna join the military," and them just kind of being like, "What are you talking about?" And Iraq was raging, and Afghanistan was still going on, and so yeah, I felt the calling. I think that there's we live in a great country, and I just think there's this sense of duty or service that's maybe missing from our generation. I felt very strongly that I needed to go do something. Joined the Marine Corps as an officer in the Marine Corps. And that was absolutely the best decision I could have ever made as a 22-year-old. There's just so many core values that get instilled in you. And, I think the Marine Corps is the best service out of all of them, definitely the hardest. And that was a really tough awakening. A lot of early lessons learned of what right and wrong looks like. So now I apply these lessons to everything I do in my life. I did a tour in Afghanistan. I did a tour off the Horn of North Africa. We did humanitarian assistance in Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. So I got to kind of see a lot of different aspects of what you can do in the Marine Corps. It's not always, combat experiences. There's a lot of other stuff that we did. I was wondering, do I want to make a career out of the Marine Corps? I felt, my family wanted me home, obviously. So I just remember I was talking to my dad. I think I'd like to come back and explore, what a career would be like in the auto industry. He's like, okay, well, you don't know anything about it. So what are you going to do? So, I'd grown up washing cars. I didn't know anything about the car business, not for real, and I had some great leadership lessons from the Marine Corps, how to take care of people. So in the car business, we're super front-end focused. We're very focused on selling cars. But there's so many other people in this industry that are critical to its success, namely on the service side, the technicians, the people that make the car safe. And so I told my dad, I said, "Hey, I think I want to focus on that. I think I want to focus on the technician side, the service side." He said, "Great. Why don't you, take a year, get your MBA, learn, take a little, combat's tough. You kind of come back from that, and having a little bit of transition time is helpful. I was going to get married and a couple other things, just some, life milestones. And it was good. I'm really glad that we did that. So I ended up doing an MBA program, and, did a little, got to intern and do some other stuff. And then eventually made my way back to the car business.
So tell me how you got into, tech entrepreneurship. Where did tech come into play? And, your current company, BizzyCar, which I want to get into, what you currently do, the problem you're solving. What brought you into tech entrepreneurship? Why did you launch BizzyCar?
When I got back from the Marine Corps, and, fast forward a couple years, my brother and I were sitting in a conference room on Saturday, and we got this email from a car manufacturer. We got this email saying, "Hey, you've got 42 customers that are in your primary market area." Every car dealer has like a defined area throughout the US. And they said, "You have these 42 recalls. You got to go fix them." So we got the email, and it was just a list of VIN numbers that had, customers that had recalls. We had no way of contacting them. We had no way of reaching out to them, no name, nothing. And just on a whim, totally random, I went to Auto Trader and I said, "Okay, can you find me used Nissans in my backyard?" So you set the little radius to 10 miles or 25 miles. And that, believe it or not, that's how BizzyCar was born, is identifying vehicles that had recalls, throughout our backyard, so to speak. And so we started going to used car lots and finding vehicles with recalls and repairing them. And it worked, man. It's just like, I'd like to say that I had like a crystal ball and this was all part of some grand
Nothing
plan.
fancy.
It was, to be honest with you, dude, it was luck and timing. And solve one problem, okay, solve another. I mean, my dad's like, "There's no way this used car dealer is going to let you take one of their cars." Pick up the phone, call the dealer. I was nervous, right? Like, maybe he's going to say no. So what? All right, he says no to me. I get told no all the time. We started making money in our first month. We made $40,000.
And just to be clear, this was from recall work that you just went out, found, and you brought that business to get it done.
Totally. Yeah. Finding cars with recalls on other dealers' lots. So we called it, business to business, B2B recalls.
The true definition of dialing for dollars.
Dialing for dollars. That was it, man. Like it was like, oh my God, we found and you check the VIN and there'd be like maybe 5 recalls on this or 6 recalls on this. So I mean, there's some ROs some repair orders we wrote up that were like $2,000-3,000. And the nice part was, these cars are unsafe, right? The vehicle was recalled because there's a problem that had to be fixed. And I had no intention at the time of turning this into a company. But, a couple months later, and, we were, in the middle of COVID, and, we're an essential business, right? Getting cars repaired. So things started, and I mean this like very gently, but, things started to kind of come back. And it's like, well, what are we going to do about this recall thing that we come up with? And I did a little research. We started, breaking down some barriers. And as it turns out, the number of vehicles on the road today that have a recall is shocking. It really blew my mind.
Or what was it at the time?
Yeah. So at the time, it was 59 million vehicles on the road with an open recall. Today, it's close to 70 million.
So it's gone up.
1 in 4 cars on the road, and depending on the manufacturer, it can be higher than that. Last year in the United States, we recalled over 30 million vehicles. It's about 100,000 vehicles a day. And that's a shocking number.
Tell me, just give us some insight into the state of recalls, right?
Recalls are getting worse, not better, depending on how you want to look at it. There's just more cars on the road. Part of it's we're getting better at quality control, but a lot of the reason is the cars are just more complicated. And, people want to drive safe cars. I don't blame them. I want my wife and with my kids to be in the safest car possible. The SAR count starts to, the total number of cars sold every year starts going back to normalizing, I think you're going to see the recalls go up as well.
What else has changed on the way vehicle manufacturers are paying dealers? Because that's obviously the incentive, right? They're paying you to perform this work. So what is that like today? And are there manufacturers where you have more of an incentive to go find their recalls because you know you might get paid more or a premium?
Car manufacturers are required by federal law to send out a recall notice when they identify an issue that could be unsafe to their customer. It's totally free. It is 100% free for the consumer. So if you get a recall notice in the mail from your car manufacturer, it is 100% free to get that repaired. And it's actually free for the dealer as well. The dealer's getting paid from the car manufacturer to get that repaired. That's how this works. Now, on the dealer side, it's good margin. It's about 70% gross margin, which sounds like a lot, and it is. But it's still not as good as kind of main shop work, other service type work. So recalls 101. Recall gets announced. You hear about the big ones, on the 6 o'clock news, 1 million vehicles from, some Detroit manufacturer, 1 million vehicles from a Japanese manufacturer. But really it's 100,000 a day. And the incentive side of this, back in the day, 10 years ago, the only way that we could solve this problem is we would send a letter to the customer and we would alert them to the fact that they had a recall. That was it. And in fact, until BizzyCar was founded, that was the primary methodology for getting your vehicle repaired. And the only place where you can get a recall repaired and have it be free is at a franchise car dealership. There's a lot of reasons for that. Some of these recalls are very complicated, and you need to go to a franchise dealer who has kind of the technical expertise to do that properly and keep it to manufacturer spec. So that's how we were doing it in my own stores. And there's some other companies out there. They're really marketing companies, service retention or whatever. They would use, some of these direct mail lists to get, to alert customers, but they didn't see the kind of like the deep value of what you could do with this.
And then explain to me how dealers are handling recalls today then.
It's a mess, man. Like it's just this perfect storm of like, you have, fragmented data. There's like 18 different ways you have to look up the information. Did the customer buy a car from me? Do I have the right contact information? Then you have to go into the car manufacturer portal. And then, it's not like these car manufacturers just have a plethora of parts sitting around. So the parts are restricted. We have taken this super complicated, fragmented, disjointed process, and we've kind of stitched it all together to this elegant, simple, easy to use tool. And I told my brother, I said this I was like, hey, when I do this has to be a product that nobody logs into. This has to be, we have like 39 vendors that we work with. So it's a lot. It's a lot to manage. It's a lot to log into. I don't need another vendor. What I need is a tool that is going to simplify my life. And so my brother Kevin and he's like, okay, all right. He's like, I would buy that. He goes, you just need to get the car to show up. He was right, man. I mean, he hit the nail on the head. And Kevin's, he's on National Dealer Council. He's on a bunch of stuff for our finance companies. I mean, he really knows what he's doing. And his answer to me was, hey, Ryan, you want to build something? Get the cars to show up, and I don't want to lift a finger. It's like, okay. So that's our bar. That's every time that we add a feature or we explore making a tweak, we have to make sure that it's going to work that way. And 97% of our customers never log into our platform. It just runs in the background.
I think that's incredible. And the beauty of being a practitioner, right, and a dealer, and having built this is that I mean, you get to use it firsthand. And like you said, you know exactly what your pain points are, right? You can solve it. You're from within the industry, and it just makes things so much more practical. Like you said, you don't want to log into the tool.
We have some really big customers, the Publics, the Lithias of the world, the Asberries, some really large groups on here. They don't have time to manage this stuff. Yeah, for us, people can sleep at night. The general manager can sleep at night. The general manager knows I have a tool that's going to reach out to customers. It's going to use AI to schedule, so my team doesn't have to train or do anything. And then the car is just going to show up. And there's so many pieces about this, the way the product works that's so elegant. I think my favorite piece is that recalls or the outreach, we're exempt, right? We're exempt from TCPA. So for dealers that are, members of your audience that are on the dealer side or car manufacturer side, this is a way to talk to customers that haven't been to your store in years. So recalls, the safety component, super, super important to me. But, that's the mission. But the value prop is loyalty and retention. And that's the thing that we're bringing beyond. And everybody knows this. Look at what the car manufacturer, you buy a new car. If you go out there and buy a Volvo, you go out there and buy a Ford, you're getting 3 years of maintenance. And it's not because the car manufacturers, want to give you free oil changes. What they want to do is build.
Come back, baby.
100%. Like, get that, you got to exercise that muscle. And if you're coming back to the store twice a year for 3 years, you're building a relationship. You're getting to know the people. You know the process. And then what are you doing? You're kicking some tires. You're looking at the brand. You're looking at the new stuff that's coming out. And you're going to, there's a direct correlation between service retention and brand loyalty and buying that car. So we've been able to, really get this out in front of dealers. We take a look at all of your recalls in your backyard, and we have, the best data in the world. We are the only vendor in the space that is directly integrated with the car manufacturer. So we have real-time recall updates from the OEMs.
Just keeping things simple, it goes such a long way in everything, in business and life.
Simplified, focused efforts in the car industry are long overdue.
You launched as this recall, recall automation software where you're making the street safer. And today, I would make the case that you are, fixing margin compression potentially in 2020 when you went out to get cars off the streets, when you needed to fill your service department. Well, guess what? Today, service has become so important, even more than it has been. I mean, service has always been important, but it's especially important when new car sales are going through a moment when there aren't enough used cars in the street. And so here you are, and you're providing the opportunity for dealers to hedge against margin compression by proactively finding and sourcing vehicles that have recalls on the street and bringing them into the department.
Margin compression is very real. 56% of a dealership's gross profit comes from service, roughly. So, we're very, focused on when sales slow a little bit, or margin gets compressed, we're really focusing on our fixed side. So if we're short work in a lot of our stores, how do you, where are the customers going? Well, they're going to the third parties, right? They're going to Jiffy Lube and Valvoline. And so they go there because it's convenient, it's efficient, it's simple. And, we're losing these customers in the franchise dealer world, and it's tough to get them back. Recalls is a way to get them back, right? You can hook the customer back, kind of create that boomerang, if you will. But we've got to make sure that we're giving consumers other tools. So we're very, at BizzyCar and in my stores, we're really looking at things like mobile service. Like, how is that part of the equation? How is service delivery and pickup part of the equation? Like, if somebody offered you the ability to repair your vehicle in your driveway versus, driving, 15 minutes to the car dealership and waiting here for 2 hours, what are you going to say? You're gonna sit in your driveway, right? Like you're gonna make it easy at home. So, and I think there's a lot of technicians that would love that job. They don't want to work in a shop.
Really?
Yeah, I think it depends on the tech. And where I'm seeing this is, our family owns a bunch of HVAC companies. The right play here is those HVAC technicians absolutely know how to diagnose a problem, do a menu presentation, right? They got to explain it to me in my home. And, in some instances, provide additional value. So, hey, we came out here to do some seasonal work, but you need a filter change. Well, what's that sound like in the car industry? I came out here to do an oil change. How about a set of wiper blades or whatever? There's an opportunity, I think, for either recruiting new people into this industry, which I think has an immediate impact on the technician shortage. And I also think there's an opportunity to create new value. And I'm kind of worried, man. Like, what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years when EVs are all the rage? Like, there's no $34.95 oil change. What am I going to do to get that customer? Like, what's going to be that loss leader in 5 years? And if you don't have like an exemplary service opportunity for your consumers, then you're going to be stuck. Recalls is part of that equation. Express service, stuff like that. So if you're a car dealer and you have a pain point, which is what we had, right? We had a pain point around recalls and I wanted to solve it. And I think there's a great opportunity to bring about that change. Our company now is a little over 50 people. We signed up 700 dealers last year alone. Yeah, we're super excited about the growth, man. Lot of signups last year. We'll probably do twice that this year. And it's just through, building product market fit, like identifying a pain point that dealers have, a real pain point, and then solving, like giving them a solution to solve for it. And, I wanted to have a price point that was obtainable for pretty much every franchise dealer out there. So we've done that accordingly. This is a pain point. This is a problem that every car dealer in America has to solve. The growth and the scale is really ramped in the last 12 months.
Well, I'm very, very pumped for you. I feel like you're operating at a very opportune time. So there's definitely a need for something like this, especially with all the craziness around just dealership profitability. Really, really excited to continue, following your growth and, what you're going to be up to. I want to thank you for coming on. This has been awesome. If anyone wants to learn more about BizzyCar, I'm on the website right now, BizzyCar.com. You can check it out there. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, what's your email?
Hello@BizzyCar.com is the easiest.
Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.